three gentlemen here today. Mike stands on the background. He just makes sure they're doing it right. And then Matt and Aeshan. Aeshan and Mike represent Westan. And Mike also does represent us for Cano as well. He does a bit of both. And then we've got Matt, who's now doing directly from Philips, so he's our main person there that will liaise with Westan and will liaise with really good parts. You're going to talk about signage situation today and the best ways to tackle some of those issues. What probably key points to move to whichever way you should go in what market and the variances between those products. So give me time and you'll learn something.
It's working this time too. We had no Wi-Fi. Yeah, so it was difficult the last one.
Someone had changed the router yesterday.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. So we're from Westan. Obviously, we deal with you guys currently. Some projection, some audio stuff with Leon. But as a guide, this is us. Obviously, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. Warehouses Australia-wide. A bit of our journey from 1990s onwards, from being the Western Digital distributor, IT-based, throughout the years, restructured into AV, and currently, obviously, we do Samsung residential, we do Epson projection, Philips, InFocus, Polk Audio. Aurora Signage is our LED brand. Just as an overview, I'll touch on that. And with Epson and Philips, those are the three pieces of hardware that could be used in the signage ecosystem. Let's go back and start on the ecosystem itself. The platform we use is called Fusion Signage. Why do we use Fusion Signage? Because it is intuitive and simple for your client or your client's client to use without calling you 15 times a day for support. Because obviously that costs time, money, etc. So it's quite intuitive. Now the Fusion Signage platform is cloud-based. It will do full screen video and full screen image, MP4 in video, JPEG, PNG, full screen image. Now, everyone's communicating their message not through posters anymore, but via digital signage. Just to benchmark it, current deployments would be Harehouse Warehouse, all the United Petroleum stores, all the screens above the counter are running Fusion Signage with Philips panels. Now, once again, because you guys will be selling to a client who'll be selling to an end client, we want to make it easy for you and make it a turnkey solution. So how do we do that? What we do is, these Philips panels have Android on board, which we will load the app, Fusion app, onto the panel at our warehouse, label the screen accordingly and ship it to your site or ship it to you. Then we will also pair it with your client's Fusion portal. So all the installer has to do is put the bracket on the wall, hang the TV up, power and data, and the TV's going with signage straight away. Now the Fusion Signage obviously developed for us by a company called Prendy in Queensland, so they're local. And it's very economical as well. There's no ongoing fees. The license is available in 1 year, 3 years or 5 years. And how we communicate the message of that cost to our client is there's no ongoing fees. If you break your cost down, $260 for 3 years, you're paying what, $12 a month or $20 a month for your signage per year, right? So the cost benefit analysis says, yes, let's go signage. Now, how the Fusion Signage platform works is it's web-based. You log into your account and it gives you a little dashboard. You get 1 gig of storage per licenses. Our Westan account currently has 17 licenses and currently 41% of screens online. A bit of metrics for you. First part is the media library. So this is where all your content gets housed into folders as per, and then to add content, all you do is just drag it from your computer, really. You drag it from your computer, put it on your media library. Once you have done that, you can create playlists. You can name the playlist whatever you want. And then to add content, you just drag it out of your media library. Right, so that one, done. Now these are videos, so it's got a certain duration. If I add a slide in, for example, if I add that in, I can change the duration of how long you want to play that as well. I can move these slides around if I want to, the sequence. And then you publish it and that playlist gets created. Now if we go back to the screens, how it works is the screens have Android on board. We load the APK Fusion Signage app onto the panel. Once we do that, the panel will spit out an identifier on the screen. All you do is, or your customer does is, or this is what we do for you prior to shipping, add a screen, you put that identifier in, and your screen gets paired. And then you just name the screen accordingly. Now this is the screen here, which is this one. Now we just created that playlist. Let's change it from Westan video to the RPG, which we created.
You did. Yeah.
Within a couple of seconds, the content will change. So that's how easy it is. And I'm thinking not from your knowledge base, but your end client's knowledge base. You know, the lady behind the counter at the retail store, the person at the fish and chip shop, you know, the person behind reception in your school. You know, they want to change the content in the reception screen. In terms of the ecosystem, that's how it is. Now, as I mentioned, we do this through Endota Spa as well. Now, for Endota Spa, you can group screens in this. So, for example, how they communicate their messages, state-based, male or female grooming, or whichever way you want to, you can have subgroups, and with a click of a button, you can send your content to 50 screens, 100 screens, right? And that's what the marketing team deploys. Now, most marketing teams are quite organised. So what they do is they add a schedule. You can program a schedule for a whole month of marketing. You don't need to touch the screen because you can set the screen to turn on at 9 and turn off at 5. So that allows, you know, stuff ups, you know, issues, eradicates all that because the person doesn't need to touch the screen at all, you know. So if we create a schedule, for example, it's just like day parting. Just gives you a calendar. All right, I want to play that playlist on these days between this time and this time. And then you keep going. You fill out your calendar. Now, if nothing's in scheduling, if you haven't put anything in, it'll just default back to whatever's been assigned to that screen. But especially like we're doing Asahi Beverages at the moment for their new head office. Yeah, the marketing team, week 1, week 2, let's push it, etc. Now, on top of that, for some of your clients, there are also templates available to make their life easier, because that way, all they have to do is, depending on what it is, they just select it, edit it, and push it out to the screens. So that's just an overview of the cloud-based Fusion Signage platform, which is applicable to the Philips panels. It could be used with projectors, or it could be used with LED screens, which is also something else that I touch on. As a guide, for example, at Shaver Shop, for example, or the Shaver Shop stores, there's a LED screen at the front, which we supply, that's running Fusion Signage via a media player. You're not closed into Philips. I understand the Philips guys here, but you can use this Fusion Signage on Samsung or LG, any SoC panels as well, right?
Won't work on your shitbox.
That's the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the reality. Look, and sometimes we have sites where the clients have existing panels there. You know, they're not going to change the Samsung panel, but yes, you can fit a media player, HDMI in, and still run Fusion signage. When the life cycle of that panel finishes, yep, then you can replace it. But you know, you can still retrofit stuff as well. So we'll just touch on the Philips range first, the new Philips range.
Can you put another playlist up here? Something's freaked it out.
1 second. So just before you get to that, I'll just start with, this is just the range overview of the Philips range. The Fusion signage, we use it on the Q lines and D lines models. They have Android on board, as well as the PLine models, which has Android on board. For the H lines and the video walls, you will need a media player. I'll give it to Mr. Phillips himself. I'll just
make that work.
let me
So just some other things with Fusion. The storage is on board the set. So once you download a full calendar schedule, it'll just be stored. So internet goes out, it'll turn on in the morning, it'll play your full calendar schedule, turn off at night and start again. So it's just pings every minute for an update. So that's the only reason when you have a connection, which we're probably having issues with, I'd guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's working now. Yeah. So we, between Aeshan and I, when I was at Westan, we probably sold maybe 3,000 licenses between Victoria and South Australia in about 2 to 3 years. Yep. You know, and probably the biggest current job is probably Noodlebox. The biggest job probably in the future will be United. United switched the job from LG and whatever signage software to Philips and Fusion. You know, and they're putting in, I don't know, man, they probably put in 6, 7 TVs per site. Yeah, between Pie Face and the coffee machines and the counter screens. So yeah, the potential for big jobs is serious with this product. There's multiple levels of licenses. The basic one is just for your local fish and chip shop, as Ace said, for like $160 for 3 years. The one we sell mainly is the advanced license, which is $260 X to your reseller for 3 years. Usually retails at $320X for 3 years, so they make $100, but it only costs the end use customer really $10 X a month per screen. So it's not a lot of money. There is an advanced license, which is going to give you single sign-in, and you know they're going to start building interfaces for facial recognition technology and some measuring technologies, but still with the premise of it being very simple. Because that's the key to this. It's not just cheap, it's easy. And easy is a big thing. So one of the clients we have who's taken this on board is the Department of Education in South Australia, and they requested that they have a master login. So there's a senior and junior right, so they can, any signage TV in the state, they can push content over and above the school. So the school has limited access, but the education department can push over the top. So there's those sort of features. The groupings and scheduling, they're the main features that people want. But essentially, why it's good is it takes away all the complexity of the stuff that people really don't use that often. So inserting widgets and all split screening, it just doesn't happen. Most customers just want to have a picture of their beer or their menu board or a picture of the shoes or the speakers they're selling, and that's all they want. So delivering that at the right price and easily is what Fusion is really about. And for me personally, Fusion is about selling more TVs. So the more Fusion licenses I can sell, most of them go on the end of a Philips set. Now you guys have one here because we've done this before, and you have that 65-inch up there, but you use something else, I don't know why, but I think maybe you guys should switch that out to a Fusion set. You can get a free license, so it won't cost you anything.
Yeah, I'll lock it.
And then you can actively sell it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bilgan's playing with his Raspberry Pi option instead
Yeah.
of running it that way. So
Yeah.
it makes logical sense.
So,
as well. Yeah.
Ben, you could do it. You could literally get on their website, download a free license, install it on the set, and you guys could just use it. And then you can, I think
And there'll be a point of sale as well when clients come in. You can run through this presentation with your clients
so maybe
and how easy it is to use.
It's one that works really well for you guys to think about in that, if if you've got a meeting coming up with X customer, go onto their website, grab some images, grab their stuff for
Correct.
it, dump it in there as a demo and go, look, we've already done this, it took me 3 minutes and there's your schedule.
Well, that's exactly what we do.
So we do it. That's
Yeah.
you know, we will help you with it. You know, could you maybe stick up the snooze thing? Yeah.
No,
Yep. So the way we go about selling it is we will help you. If you get a client, we will go with your client and help them sell it. And so with something, what we generally do is we get a whole bunch of images off their website. We usually pick some bad ones to show that we're not a marketing company as well. And it's a clever thing to do because we'll get it, it'll be in 4x3 instead of 16x9, so it'll look like rubbish. But effectively then we go through creating a playlist, creating a calendar schedule, and we do it all, and they're going, oh, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy, and then we go push, and in front of them, it's their TV with their new playlist.
it's just the experience, you know, and by
You get
because
buy-in.
the demo in going through these 4 sections, you can do that in 5 minutes and people get it.
Yeah.
You know, media library, playlist, screen, simple.
I went to this job once, and I had to go like multiple times. I went 5 or 6 times to do a demo, and they eventually dragged in the IT manager, head of IT for this company, and it's owned by West Farmers. Yep. Right. So he thought he asked all these questions, and the lady who came from Puma, who ran one of their marketing team, basically in a room of about 10 people, told him, I don't care what you're going to say, basically piss off. Yeah, this is the easiest thing I've ever used. We're going to use it. I don't give a shit what you're going to say. Piss off. Yeah,
Because
she was sick of having meetings.
you guys,
Yeah.
you guys don't want the hassle of calls. This is not working. That is, you know, and with most signage software, there's a level of IT involved. This is not working, and that's downtime. You know?
The only issue
So
you
at
ever
least-
get is network connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
that's
you got a network connection, that's
Yeah.
all you need, and you can see how easy it is to change. And I've been changing a few at the moment. But yeah.
So we just won this job yesterday. So, and a couple of days ago, I was saying that one of the guys from BMW called me. He's like, Matt, you sell signage. Can you tell us how we don't do posters anymore? You know, there's got to be a better way. Yeah, and it just makes sense. So the same company where I had that meeting, they told me that to change a poster in one of their, because they're a wholesaler, they calculated $200 per poster. That's what it cost. So, you know, by the time you do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 posters, depending on the screen size, you know, it's more economical, and it can do video, can do web links, it's dynamic, you can do specials and change it, you know, all the things that you can do with a digital screen rather than a static screen wins a million times. And, you know, when you talk to some of the retailers, it's interesting to get their perspective. Most of them don't want anything too fancy. If they're doing menu boards, they just want it to be a menu board. What they've figured out though is that it needs to move. So a lot of them are doing video static menu boards. So there might be bubbles in the background like that beer thing. It just keeps people's attention.
Yeah.
So they're getting really good. They're starting to get quite clever at their signage. At Westan, we used to use it internally. So we had, even within the office at Westan, they had all the Polk audio stuff was running in the background. Epson stuff was running in the background for staff's knowledge, and you know, customers walking in as well. So yeah, there's plenty of case scenarios, but we can help you sell it as well. You know, if you need be. All right, so we'll go to the panels.
So we'll go to the Philips range.
All right, so the first thing with Philips, it is owned by the TV division is owned by a very large Asian business. They are the largest monitor manufacturer in the world, full stop. They have 35% market share if you take TV tuners out. The only brands they own are Philips and AOC, but they manufacture for mainly computer monitors. This is their biggest business, but they manufacture for most other people. So what you get with that is economies of scale, and there's not 15 people clipping the ticket. Westan deal directly with the factory, and I'm the only person in Australia for That's it. I'm the only cost. So there's not many, and up until a year ago, it wasn't even me. So yeah, it's a very efficient business. They're never a market leader, so you're never going to get a flexible OLED video wall from these guys. They'll just build a bog standard screen at the right price with the right quality. So they tend to be better value than the other brands. Same sort of quality, bit cheaper, or a better quality screen, same price. The one thing that they do, which I like over the other brands, is all their sets it's a standard Android operating system. It's not a version of Android. It's not Tyson, which is Linux based. It's not WebOS from LG. It's Android. So the positive to that is just about every signage software doesn't need to be Fusion. If you've got a customer who's using Signage Live, Smart Sign, Nplug, it'll just install directly on the set. So, and it's so much more reliable if you have it running on chip rather than as an external media player. And I've thought about it for ages, and you guys understand electronics better than me, but the only thing I can put it down to is media players have $4 power supplies. You know, so they're just reliable as a $4 power supply. Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll go back to the range. So the range starts with sort of some lightweight 16, 18, 7 panels. Generally, those panels are best kept in landscape. You can do some in portrait, but because they're not as bright, they're not as robust, generally the landscape's best. They make a version without Android, and they make a version with Android. The non-Android would be good for just people like just a cheap screen in a classroom or something like that, but the Android versions from that point on can install the software. And they go anywhere from a 10-inch touch up to a 98-inch, and then we have video wall on top of that. From the Q line, which is the lightweights, we go up to D line. This is a D line, current D line. It's getting replaced, the current range. They are mainly moving to 4K, but it's from 50-inch upwards. 500 nit, and that's a big thing with signage, the brightness. And they're all 24/7 landscape portrait. This is our best-selling range by a long way. So they're really well priced, and they just tick the boxes. They're bright enough for most internal use, like a menu board is perfect. You guys have this screen hanging from your roof, so that's what you use. You've got a 65-inch version of that, so it's 4K. So cool. And then PLine. PLine is it's getting limited. The new range of PLine comes middle of the year. It's only going to be 700 nit. Previously it was 500 and 700, but why would you buy? You know, this was 500. They're kind of duplicating. But what you get with PLine is, on paper, you'd never buy it. But when you physically see it, you'll understand. The 43 PLine or 42 PLine weighs 6 kilos more than the 43-inch D series because it's got metal backed, it's got IP controllable fans, temperature sensing, it's got massive heat sinks, it's got massive power supplies. So they're built like tanks. It's the opposite to this or this, it's just built to go the distance. So if you were doing something industrial, like I put them in a dairy, a Fonterra dairy for their signage, KPI measurements and all that sort of gear. KFC, they've been using P-Series or the predecessors for P-Series for about 5 years. And thank God they're coming up for renewal, so it's going to be a good year. Yeah, because there's about 3,500 of them running in KFC currently. So they use that for all their internal menu boards. So that in that sort of toxic environment, P-Series is really, and there's not many brands that do it. Most of them have, if you went and bought a 700 nit Samsung, it's built like this. And if you pump out that extra bit of brightness, as you guys again understand, you know, heat is what kills electronics. The brighter the TV, guess what? There's more heat. So you need, as you go up in brightness, you need a better set. So 700 nit, it's unusual to have such a good build quality of set. H-Line, no Android on H-Line. There's 2 sizes in H-Line, and it's not going to change for now. There's 55 and 70. They are internal screens only. They're not outdoor. They're not IP rated, but they're essentially a window-facing, high-bright screen. So you have 2,500 nit in a 55 and 3,000 nit in a 70. They just pump. So if you're going to put a TV, if you wanted to put a TV in your window here, out facing onto Spencer Street, that's what ideally you'd use. It's never going to beat the sun, but it'll give it a go better than anything else. And the only other option is to switch to LED, but in small screen sizes, you never get the resolution in a LED. So it's sort of, there's still a big market for high bright LCD for a number of years till they can make micro LED cheap enough to work. Video wall, I guess you guys know how a video wall works, but essentially we have 49 and 55 inch video wall. There's two brightness levels, 500 and 700 nit, and there's two bezel sizes. Currently it's 3.5 and 1.8 pick to pick. So that's 0.9 mil each side bezel. That's by the middle of the year, the 1.8 goes. So it'll be 3.5 because it's cheaper and certainly a lot easier to install. And they're going to move to 0.88. And so that's 0.44 rectangular bezel because the 3.5 mil is not rectangular. It's 2.2 and 1.3. So.
And the B-line, which you've got up here, is quite exciting. It's new.
Yeah, new. So Philips also make hotel TV. So if you guys want to talk about that, we can. But they've also just introduced effectively like an in-betweener. It's a commercial TV. So if you were doing meeting rooms, boardrooms, and you want a well-priced set that's still got a really good commercial warranty and has some better features designed for that commercial application, yeah, it's got MATV and IPTV tuners. So if you're doing, you guys sell, I know you sell King and Roy, so they've got triacs. I don't know if you do a koozie, but it plugs into all those IP head ends. It'll also work with sort of the more advanced IP TV solutions like Xterity, Triple Play. So that, but what you get in the TV to make it sort of more readily usable in those meeting room environments, it has Crestron control on chip. So as soon as you put the MAC address into the processor, there's no programming needed. It'll recognise the device and it'll have all the code. Still got RS2 and RS2 serial and IP control. It has a commercial, not an enterprise level, but a commercial version of Chromecast, which is essentially like a domestic version, but it's got security. So you'll only connect with the TV in front of you. You won't be connecting to a TV in the next room like you will if you're using one of those, or even a Sony commercial TV has a domestic version of Chromecast. So yeah, there's some touchscreens. Touchscreens go from 10 inch to 86. There's a 10 and 24 currently, which are interesting sets to look at because they're not a tablet, they're a signage endpoint, but they look like a tablet. This market is...
This particular screen, Hairhouse Warehouse use it at their counter in conjunction with the Fusion Digital Signage software.
There's just many. I think potentially no one's quite figured it out, but there's a lot of uses for this set. The whole reception login, it's a better solution because there's no batteries, and it's completely locked down, so no one will stand there and get out and get to the internet and stuff up your login software. I'm quoting somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 of them for patient medical information on their beds to replace the paper. So I think there's just multiple uses. And then the touchscreens go from then standard IR, Android-based, up to 86 inch. Yeah.
And then service and support, 3 on-site warranty. What we want to be able to do is obviously make it efficient for you where you can do the selling. We label the TV with Fusion on it, ship it to you or your client. If anything goes wrong, they call us, tech support over the phone. If not, our servicing is done by Inamatech on site, Australia-wide. So that way, just trying to make it easy. That way you don't get the calls saying, something's wrong. We'll take responsibility for that.
You can extend a warranty, guys. So it's around about 8%, so 4% per year of the cost of the set to take it out to 5 years if you want to do that. Some of the retailers like to have that, particularly the franchises, when they sell it in as a 5-year license software solution and hardware solution. So if you want to do that, you can. It's just an option. Make a few bucks on it as well. That's kind of it, guys. So
that's the Philips hardware side of things with the Fusion Signage software. We've done RAC Arena in Perth. Currently, we're working on Etihad or whatever they call it now. But in terms of ranges, you've got a range called the iTV. Now this is to make life easier. It's LED, but like a TV, all in one. It's got Visa mounts on the back, got HDMI input, power, USB, but you, where was it? So all in one. LED design for boardrooms, etc. You can have it on a trolley if you want. Now, as you can see, it's available in one 10-inch, one 38-inch, and one 65-inch. Now, the thing to be mindful of, at that 10-inch size, the video wall is still more economical. But once you get to 138 and 165, it starts to cross. So we've just recently sold to the Sandringham Golf Club a couple of these in the 165-inch. It comes in a variety of pixel pitches. 1.9, 1.5. Now I'll get to the pixel pitches. Pixel pitch depending on viewing distance, size of screen, and the outcome you want, what content you're going to play. So for example, we do a lot of school gyms and school halls, and we spec in 3.5 by 2 meter at a P2.6, right price point, right resolution for that application. As a guide, so we've done Innisfree Cosmetics at High Point behind the counter. As you can see, that's a 3.91. Melbourne Central, 3.91. Adair's High Point, that's a 2.6. So the smaller the screen, you know, you're always looking at cost and outcome. So 2.6 is sufficient, you know, if it's 3.5 long. If it's 5 meters long, you can get away with P3.91, you know, pixel pitch as such. So that's in a retail environment. This is Sterling Sports. As you can see now, the transition is happening where they're going from panels to LEDs, even at this size. Education, this is Xavier College. It's on hydraulics. It'll come out and down, both left and right. We've just done Rowellen Park Primary School, P2.6, 3 LEDs. And as a guide, like, price point to trade price point is about, say, 26K, and you can make 15, 20 points on it, like, without a doubt. So from a sales perspective, it's high dollar value. Transport Hotel across the road from Flinders, it's one of ours. We've done the Village Hotel, the Gap View in Alice Springs, beer gardens, and with these kind of things, we curate solutions. This is Salmon Street. With foyer and atriums, you usually go a pixel pitch of 1.9 because they want the bling and to be flashy, etc. We've done the PwC boardroom, again, pixel pitch of 1.5. And we do bespoke solutions. We've done this in Queensland for Data 3, all the way around, curved LED. So these are more bespoke solutions, pricing POA, so you just engagement, discussion. Now, apart from that ITV, we do have another all-in-one solution, which we were getting a lot of inquiries on. It's an all-in-one school sign. So you don't have to stress, you don't have to do any thinking. We provide you with the LED and the structure. So this is what you're getting for it, right? So you've got the drawings there, so you can sell this off a brochure, because what you're getting is, you're getting this structure, powder-coated. You got 3 sizes. Because it's an outdoor sign and it's not playing high-res video, the pixel pitch doesn't need to, you can go from 6 to 5.3 to 3.9, depending. And yeah, all-in-one solution. So the pricing starts from single-sided and double-sided. So we feel like for a 5.3, which is 2.5 by 1.2 metre outdoor sign, looking about 7.5 grand, and it's competitive. And that's a all-in-one solution. So that was number 2. Then we do have also Poster range, which is LED on casters. For advertising, you can get a single-sided or double-sided. HDMI USB on board, right? Plug and play kind of thing, I think. And then we have Poster outdoor, similar product, but for outdoor use. Shopping centres, anywhere really. So it comes with a full structure, as per. And these curated solutions are easy to sell because you can sell off the brochure. But for the bigger jobs, take it by per application. Now, as I mentioned to you before, for example, at the shaver shop, they've got LED, but they're running Fusion signage and a media player. So those would be, that will be the ecosystem, Fusion signage and the different sets of hardware. In brief, but guys, as an overview, that's pretty much it. Any questions? Not hard ones from Ben, but
I actually have an easier one.
Yeah.
You talk about using, say, Android media players or whatever else like this with one. Are there specific ones that you guys are selling or recommending for it as well?
Yeah, well, you guys actually stock it. We tested the Minix Neo X68i.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Very stable. What we do is, it's APK if I put it in. On the Minix, there's a couple of settings, like auto start, because it's a power outage, you want the Minix to reboot straight away. We configure that. And so that's the one we use. Fusion signage do also have a bit more of a robust media player, but I'm saying like the Minix for $185 as opposed to that 400. We're trying to, if it works, close the ecosystem. So that's what we're trying to do. The Minix would be the way to go. And it may be a situation where obviously you buy the Minix from Canon, buy the Fusion license, you can do it together. And, like either way, whichever metrics.
I figured that you guys probably haven't played with that before or used them, so it's definitely worth knowing about it for you too.
But guys, so hopefully, and if you do need any help, let me know. And if you want to do demos with your clients, obviously between me and Matt, we can organise that. But I think signage is a big thing. I think, as I said, from school reception to coffee shop, to pizza shop, to retail, so there's so many aspects to it. So, and it's just trending up and up. And even that's why Epson's come out with this, because they know they brought out a signage projector because they know the signage market is where it's at in that aspect. So.
Don't forget those little L100 ones that look like a park hand or something like that light. Just little round laser projectors can do some really awesome sort of custom signage.
Yeah, and obviously Epson's got the other smaller one as well. Yeah, the round one where you point. But and I think it's well priced for a 5,000 lumen because you're getting laser and you're getting like 200 inches from a metre out. And it can be concealed as well. I mean, they've done this for the cutout, off the side, ceiling, or off the floor even. You can pack it out and just have the lens coming out. So, So, thank you for your time and patience.
Thanks.